we like Buddhism for the right reason or the wrong reason. And that depends on our motives, the right materials, and right livelihood. The right motive, 正见, 真经, the right motive, and which is based on conditionality. When we have the right motive, right understanding, that should be based on conditionality. And of course, in the right motive, there is no unskillfulness, meaning there is no selfish craving, there's no hatred, there's no jealousy. And this is important because with the right motive, with the right intention, and when we have the right materials with the right method, then it can help us. Meaning that you have the key, but you have to be at the right door in order for you to unlock and open the door. If you have the wrong key but at the right door, then that doesn't work also. Meaning that your motive needs to be in line with materials that you are studying and the methods that can help you to apply Buddhism. So therefore, the emphasis is on the consistency between Dharma study and our secular life. Those two should be flowing in the same positive direction. So we want to focus on the consistency between how we live our life and how we study Buddhism. Because if there is inconsistencies, then there will be a tug of war. And therefore, that inconsistency will bring internal conflicts. And that's why we can end up feeling miserable and confused. So should there be a breach between our religious and secular aspects of life, then that will impact how we practice Buddhism. Meaning that our attitude in life will show up in our spiritual practice. We can change the environment, but it is more effective to change our attitude than to change the environment. If we cannot reconcile our internal conflicts between our religious life and the secular aspect of life, and we pursue religious life at the expense of the secular life, then we will encounter obstructions in our religious life. If we cannot have a happy life and we are forcing ourselves to find happiness in Buddhism, then it will show up as unhappiness, it will show up as conflict. Because there are two ways that can impact our life. One is direct way and the other one is indirect way. Indirect way is when we live our life and it impacts our spirituality. The direct way is when we practice spirituality. Of course, that will have direct impact on our spirituality. So our life and religious studies should be pointing in the same direction. There should be no conflicts between our worldly life and its duties and our spiritual life and our religious studies. Those two should be pointing in the same direction. Otherwise, there will be a tug of war. How a Buddhist lives his life should be consistent with his Buddhist study. Right? Again, one is direct impact, the other one is indirect impact. Right? As we carry ourselves in a shopping mall or dealing with people, it has indirect impact to our spirituality. This constant tug of war here is because of the internal conflict. This constant tug of war will make us disassociate ourselves from the transcendental principles. Without self-discipline and without proper guidance, it is very easy for us to be pulled by the worldly temptations. And that will only increase our selfish cravings and afflictions. And of course, the result is that we will move further and further away from the transcendental principles. And it is all because of the lack of principles and the lack of proper methods of studying the Dharma. So the practitioner lacking in common guiding principles will be to some extent disintegrated. An illustration here is that just like a person clinging desperately to a rock in midstream feels against his body the mighty rush of waters. which seeks to tear him from his refuge and lure him to destruction. When we are not consistent between how we live our lives and our religious study, and we're trying to find peace in our religious study, and when we have to face reality again, it is like we're holding onto this rock to prevent us from being blown away by the strong current of water. You can survive living with this integration a day or two, but not for a lifetime. So sooner or later, in that constant tug of war, something is going to give, and something is going to be torn apart. That pressure will continue to build up if it's not released. And one of the reasons for spiritual struggles is due to the misunderstanding of the principles. So when we live our lives and we're trying to find happiness in our spiritual study, but we don't have the proper understanding, it could negatively reinforce or impact our life.